Bouncing with that
drop. KCP in the middle. Bounce, Larry. Throw that baby down. Oh, my goodness.
What, Howard? Are you kidding? With some anger.
Kyrie get out of that double team. With the hip fake. What a move by Hakeem Olajuwon.
Levine, he goes right.
Oh! Does anybody know how to post videos?
Got Slink.
That Evan Turner trade, when we brought Evan Turner in for Kent Bazemore, that was not a good trade. He made up for it, though. He definitely made up for it because he took that piece and flipped it into another piece for almost next to nothing. So he has made some mistakes. I don't think any GM is going to hit every single move, right? But the moves that he has, kind of faltered on, he's cleaned that mess up.
And I think you said it. I think you may have said it in our group text. I think last night or yesterday about Dedmon. I think what he got from Sacramento was like a 4-year, 40-something
something like that, yeah.
And then you bring him back, and it's like, well, why didn't the Hawks sign him for that at the time before they got him up out of there? So that was kind of interesting to me because basically you're taking back that contract when you could have pretty much signed that to him when he wanted it.
But you make sure you don't overpay. Sometimes you don't want to outbid yourself. Let him go out, see what he can get. Then the other part of it is he's almost through the first year, so $40 million. He's getting $13 million a year.
Right.
Hawks only on the hook for 2 years and $26 million.
True.
2 for 26 is better than $40 million for Dwayne Dedmon at the time.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact.
And so I think two things happen, in my opinion. It shows that Travis Slink has a very good dance between getting players that improve the roster and being fiscally responsible. And it also shows, to your point, you make a mistake, I move on for him. I'm not going to make a guy try to stay in fit because I picked him. I'm going to make this work. Coach Pierce is going to make this work. Nah. It's not working. We need to move forward, and we're making some moves, and I like it.
That boy trigger finger is itchy.
So
itchy. He will pull the trigger to get you packed and up out of here quick. Just signed Jabari, and Jabari's gone. Just traded for Evan Turner. Evan Turner's gone. Crab, quick flips, in and out, just keep it moving.
Everybody he brought in is gone.
Everybody.
Crab.
But that raises a question for me. Like, what happens to Coach Pierce when you're caught up in all this, keep on transition? If he's going to be quick flipping and you got to sit here and work with this product, how does your job security look when you're not able to work with whatever it is that he's bringing you?
If Coach Pierce were to tell you the absolute truth, I think that this helps his job security because all of this flux going on and, the constant movement, how can you – and I said this last week – how can you actually grade him on his progress because of all of the, different mixing and matching as far as the pieces goes? I think this helps him, but we're getting closer to a sustainable roster. Eventually, all of this moving and willing and dealing, it does have to stop, and then you do have to move forward with a core of a team. And I think we're – maybe a move or two away from doing that, and then the clock really starts on Pierce.
Yeah, I think one of the things that it was eye-opening was when I looked at the inactives. I believe it was Dallas. And the inactives, it was a double whammy of people who were giving you nothing and the fact they weren't there. It was DeAndre Bembry out hurt, Alex Lynn out hurt, Jabari Parker out hurt, Chandler Parsons out hurt. Cam Reddish was out hurt, and those are the people who were not available to play, and Coach Lloyd Pierce had to figure out a way to put something together in Boston. Now, the Dallas game, when they got blown out by 20, I was disappointed in that, the fact that Porzingis, Powell, and Luka didn't play, and the Hawks just didn't come out with the energy. That to the side, I think the one thing that Lloyd Pierce hasn't had is a consistent roster to go to where guys, if they're not playing well, he could sit you. If he didn't like a certain matchup, he could move. He has been relegated to what he has as far as bodies. John Collins suspended, injured players. Now, all of that is over, so I think this is going to be a really fun last third of the season to see if Capela can come in off his foot injury while Trey's playing well, while Collins is playing well, while Herter looks like he's ticking up, how the Hawks might look going into next year.
Yeah, I'm absolutely – whenever Capela is healthy and comes back, obviously we Hopefully, I would say sometime by March, I would think. Maybe end of this month, but definitely probably by March. Looking forward to see him in action, him and Trey do their thing, and continuing adding to what Trey and John Collins are already doing as well. So it's going to be interesting. State Farm Arena is going to be taking up another notch just to add a nice piece in Clint Capela and to see how they can move forward with him.
Just knock these shots down. That's all we need. If the shooters can shoot, the floor will be spaced. Like, the floor will be spaced now. So you just got to be ready to knock a shot down. Either the young cats or we're going to have to bring in a shooter to knock shots down. So either way, man, I'm excited.
That's
really
my question.
excited.
Do we have enough shooters? Now, we have plenty of big men now, and we'll see how that ends up. But the Hawks can't rebound. They can't rebound. They can't play defense. So now you got Capela and you have Dedmon. Capela is going to be – everything's going to be at the rim. Everything is put back. Everything is an extra possession. So there goes your rim protection and a little bit of real basketball in the paint. What about your shooters now? We're watching Cam kind of develop. Now that he's hurt, how does he get back into a rhythm coming in off the bench now, and can he get himself to where he becomes one of those outside threats to go with the big guys that have been brought in?
What shooters are out there that aren't going to cost you an arm and a leg to get? That's the thing, because we all know that shooters in this league are at a premium.
Yeah.
And they know they're at a premium. If all I need to do is be able to shoot and I can knock it down at a 40% clip, you're going to pay me. Or if you're talking about trading for a piece, you're, like I said, they're at a premium. You're going to maybe having to give up some things that you may not want to come up off of.
And it may be the type of thing where they may be content with the young pieces that they got. I mean, because they do have 3 wing players that are under 2 years, between Cam, DeAndre Hunter, and Kevin Huerter.
Right.
So there is some shooting in those guys. It's just got to develop, and it's going to be on Schlink to determine if he's willing to wait for that development or if this timeline is now sped up to where you got to bring in some established shooting. So
I'm kind of hoping that, because Cam did kind of take a little bit of a –
he's taking an incline.
He's been progressing these past few games.
This past month, he's been playing well.
He's been going in the uptick. So I'm kind of hoping that this little sideline of an injury, giving him a chance to kind of sit back for a little bit and look at the game again, will bring him back with a new vigor that we might see a better version of him anyway.
Okay, you got to check to Joe Harris.
Hey.
He's unrestricted free agent.
Yeah.
Go cut him a check in the offseason.
Okay.
They're going to have to overpay somebody somewhere because they're just not big names. But when you're talking about what the Hawks need, go get Joe Harris.
And then they say they're willing to go into bad money too. So
go get your Joe Harris to go shoot that thing. Is what I'm looking at. See, I'm looking to build, and I know there's conversation now. Should the Hawks, what are they doing here? If you're going to try to win games at the end of the season and not make the playoffs, then you might be missing out on LaMelo Ball or Anthony Edwards or James Wiseman. I think we're past that. Yep. If we get one of those guys, love to have a talented young man and see where he goes. I think the Hawks now are on a trajectory where they need to start adding pieces that are veteran pieces and ride with the young core they already have now.
And the thing is, the funny thing about that, if you can somehow still land one of those guys, you could flip it into a nice little veteran. There's a team out there who may value one of those guys more than you do at that point. And they say, okay, if you give us this guy, we'll give you this. And you may be able to finagle some good veterans that you add to this core that can take this thing to the next level. So turning these assets and these young, talented players that are coming into this league, turn it into some veteran help.
I just want to say salute to the Hawks, and it's because of the Hawks that I did this last night. I looked at the standings. They 8 games out of the 8th place spot. And I'll be honest, like with the activity that they got going on, I expect to see some movement in the standings. I'm not saying that they'll catch the 8th spot, but I do
sounded a little bit too excited.
I'm not gonna lie, but I am.
Like, you want me to tell you something that I'm gonna add to your excitement?
Talk to me.
And I'm only doing this because it kind of plays into the hand that you've already dealt. Out of all the teams with the records, the final schedule of all the teams that you're to play, the Hawks have the lowest win percentage amongst teams that they play the rest of the season, as far as the teams that they play, as far as sorry teams or teams that are not that great. I think it's like a a 444 win percentage combined of all those teams on the rest of the schedule.
Yeah, at the end of this month.
It's the lowest. It's the easiest schedule remaining, shall I say, for the Hawks for the rest of the season. Now, what that means, I don't know because, like I said, this is still a young team who finds a way to lose games that they're not supposed to lose, or shall we say, or
not show up when they just should just play.
I don't know what that necessarily means, but I think to go along with his point, it kind of adds to, okay, you got your piece that you added. That's pretty good. And now you're going into a stretch that is the easiest in the league, according to record-wise. So we'll see what we can do with it.
So they've won 7 games out of their last 18, which ain't saying a whole lot.
It's not.
But from where we have started, the trajectory is looking right. At least they're picking up steam. And I'm looking for small victories, obviously. 7 out of 18, so clearly looking for small victories. Just keep the momentum going. Just step up. Before last month, they had only won, I think the maximum games that they had won in a month was 3. Last month they won 7 games in a month. If we could grow that 7 to 8 this month, then we're looking in the right direction, So at least keep the arrow pointing north.
Yeah, I'm in a spot. We're supposed to be patient, but you can be aggressively patient. And I think that's where we are now. That, and I wonder how much of this is coming from the top. Tony Ressler looking around, and, Hawks have had the worst record in the league for most of the season. And he's looking around and he sees the situation. What's going on there in Memphis? Why are they there in the 8th seed? Why are they hanging on there and clawing and fighting? And what's going on here in the Eastern Conference when you see, a team like Orlando who really didn't have superstars, but they're right there. And what's going on with Brooklyn? Yeah, they have Kyrie Irving, but they don't have Kevin Durant, and they're still in the 7th seed. What can we do to improve the team? I wonder how much of that is coming from the top, because Travis Schlenk didn't waste any time in correcting, I won't call them mistakes, but correcting moves that didn't yield what he thought they were going to yield quickly.
Boy, just wait till Kevin Durant come back, boy. Because if they're where they are now without him, and obviously the help of Spencer Dinwiddie, and you got Joe Harris over there, heck of a shooter, probably known as the best shooter in the league. You said they're in the 7th spot?
The Nets are 7 and the Magic are 8.
Wait till Kevin Durant come back. And I think this is one of those things. We live in a time where it's an out of sight, out of mind thing for a lot of people. And it's been a year that Kevin Durant has been sidelined because of his Achilles injury. Some people forget. And I think he's really going to take this league by storm once he gets back and he's fully healthy.
Hey, y'all, we got plenty of ways for y'all to check us out. So make sure that you go subscribe on either Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, or even Shaq2 Radio, which plays our podcast every Wednesday and Saturday night. You can also catch us on the YouTube channels for the Drop Step Podcast, 680 The Fan, and Atlanta Sports Set. And last but not least, make sure you check out the Drop Step on IG, Twitter, and Facebook.
NBA having their All-Star Game draft, where they select the players on the teams. We know who the starters are going to be. That should be interesting. And Trae Young going to be tired. Going to be in the skills competition, going to be in the three-point competition, and going to be in the All-Star Game on Sunday. So he's going to have a busy, busy weekend. And the fact that he wants to do it shows you his passion for the game. I like that. It's good for the Hawks, good for him personally, and good for networking. Being around with the stars of the stars, you kind of get to build some relationships you normally wouldn't throughout the regular season. So I think it's a good thing that Trae Young is going to be participating in all 3 events.
It's his first year as an All-Star. I would expect him to participate. He said it before, I'm young. It's not like I'm 30, 33 years old. If I'm going to go here, I want to be able to participate in everything. This is my world tour still to show everybody, if they don't know Trae Young, they gon' know Trae Young. And if you don't know, I'm going to wake you up. This is the perfect time to wake people up. And that 3-point contest, now that they've added the shot, 6 feet from the 3-point line?
Yeah.
Keep playing. That's all I got to say. Keep playing.
This is the opportunity to maximize his exposure. Honestly, I'm kind of disappointed that he's not doing the skill contest as well. Like, I want I want the clean sweep. And
You
if he was 3 inches taller,
Hold
I'd
on.
want him in the dunk contest too. I want everybody around the country to see Trae Young and get an idea of what we got going on down here, you know. And I think what you said, home team, is especially important too, you know, being around these other cats, you know, and rubbing shoulders with some cats that are like a tier above him and seeing how they operate and how they handle business. I mean, for the personal growth and development, but as well for the recruiting aspect of things as well, you know, because that may come to fruition in the next couple of years to where Trae Young's recruiting some of these guys over the weekend. So I'm super excited, man. I hope he does well. Quick question for y'all. Giannis, or would you rather see Trae on team Giannis or on team LeBron? Obviously, the teams aren't built yet.
Luka.
Good call.
He's got to play against Luka.
So whatever team
whatever
Luka's
long
on,
as-
you got to go to
good
Luka.
call.
Not on.
They
Yeah.
got to
Good
play
call.
against Luka.
Yeah.
Good call.
Play it the other way.
I want to compete.
And also, you know, I think, you know, even though there are some national media members who are now seeing Trae Young for what we've seen him to be, there's still a lot out there who are wanting to hold his skill level and his talent and his production against him because he is on a bad team. And I don't feel as though they're getting that same I don't feel as though they look at Devin Booker the same way that they look at Trae Young. Devin Booker is playing at a high clip. He's been doing it for quite some time, but he's been on bad teams.
Right.
But they've always favored him or looked at him differently than they have looked at Trae Young. And Trae Young is not All-Star. You getting All-Star votes is not a team thing. It's an individual accolade that you get rewarded for your ability and your talent. So my thing is, if you haven't looked at Devin Booker sideways and he's been on these bad teams, not because of him, then why is it that you won't look at Trae Young the same way, even though he's on a bad team?
Touche. Hey,
I've never understood.
Trust me, I ain't got the argument for it.
And I don't. It's like, what does Trae have? 42 and 15. What else does the man have to do? Does he have to sell the popcorn and make the hot dogs too?
He got to be exactly what he's been, and that's a household name that's ringing bells across at least the Eastern Conference to where he could be the number one point guard getting voted in. His name rings bells, and he's got a shot that everybody wants to see. And now that he's being put on this national stage like that, yeah, he's able to now rub elbows with the big dogs. That only brings a different type of pedigree to you when you actually, like, if y'all look back at all the All-Star footage and pictures and stuff from years past, look at how those players interact with each other. They become more of a brotherhood, and they tend to lend each other secrets to the trade that you wouldn't necessarily get if you weren't on that level. You got to be on that level to grab that access to the sauce. So I think it's just
The sauce.
Yeah, but I think it's just a big win for him because he's going to be able to go over there, talk to these dudes, which he was able to do something last year being a rising star, but now actually being an all-star, you're in the locker room, you know? So it's different conversations than any other time. It's just like making it onto a USA team or something like that. You're on a different pedigree, at least as far as in the public's eye, so now they're going to respect you as such.
We just got word coming across the wire, Bleacher Report reporting that the Hawks make another move. They get a guard, and they did this for cash. Derek Walton from the Clippers, who wasn't playing a lot of minutes, trying to fill out some roster positions. You have to wonder, Brandon Goodwin's been doing a pretty good job at the backup or, third-string point guard, if you will, at times. What the plan is moving forward, but that's just another move with one more roster spot they could fill.
I don't know much about dude.
I know his name is Derek and his last name is Walton.
And that's about all I know too.
Junior.
Don't forget the junior. Okay, I mean, we'll see where he falls into the rotation.
Well, I mean, it was for cash, right? So
yes,
like it's
I don't think this fills any gaps.
I don't think it does
not,
either. Like I said, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know his game. I haven't seen him play. I don't know where.
6 foot point guard out of Michigan. Been with the Heat, been with the Clippers, but definitely a point guard. So I don't know. It's a different type of move. I don't know if it's a future type of move. I think Brandon Goodwin is doing an exceptional job at the backup point guard right
playing
now.
Hard.
He really is. And he gives you a nice component to where you can put Jeff Teague at the 2 by having Brandon Goodwin in at the point guard. I think the Jeff Teague trade was brilliant as well.
But I think long-term wise, I I really think Brandon Goodwin should be your back. I mean, all the love and the praise that he's been.
Teague is there to be what we've been asking from Vince Carter and everybody else.
Right.
Be that veteran presence.
Right.
I don't even think he's thinking that he's going to be trying to take a spot from Brandon Goodwin at this point.
For like I said, for the future.
Yeah.
Teague is here for the time that he's here for, and he's doing what they've asked him to do.
Right.
But he knows, and everybody knows, that he's not here long term.
Right.
And I think that Brandon Goodwin has, at least thus far, has earned that right to be the backup to Trae Young.
And Teague's going to be 32 next year. That's another thing. Even if you like what he's doing, would that be a good answer? I think he still has some basketball left to play, especially in a backup role. But at 32, what kind of money is he looking for? And what would he be looking to take? Because he's coming up on making about $89 million in his career. So the question is, if he feels like this team can win, or if he feels like another team is close to winning, maybe that's more important to him now. And maybe we can keep him for a few more years. And if not, then that's something else that Travis Lincoln's going to have to work on.
Somebody else will
the
pay
offseason.
And, point guards are needed, especially veteran point guards around the league.
Maybe have some nostalgia being that he was with us for so long in the first place. And
you know what can get rid of that nostalgia?
Money.
The dollar sign. And dollar sign said, you know what, it was nice being here, but somebody calling me for 10, 11, 12, $13 million a year per for maybe 2-3 years. I come back to Atlanta and visit.
Right.
That's about it. So I'm taking my talents elsewhere.
You look at the trade that went down that everybody kept waiting to happen. Andre Iguodala finally gets out from under the yoke of the bondage of the Grizzlies contract and ends up in Miami. And boy, goodness. They had reports on they worked out a deal. Look, we're going to have you. We'll try to move you, and you don't have to come. And then as time had gone on, nobody was getting interest, and it felt like Iggy felt like they weren't moving fast enough to try to get him a new team. Then the word leaks out. Then the Grizzlies players start speaking out on it. And I think it's just best for all involved. It's a young team. They've turned the page. They're doing well. They have pretty good chemistry. And Iggy wasn't going to help them, and now he gets out of there. They get him out of there, and everybody can go their separate merry ways.
Bravo.
Like I said, boy, Iggy and his agent, boy, they are – I salute them. I really do. Because the man said, you know what? I'm going to sit. I'm going to go on national TV and do some first take. I'm going to go on my book tour and tell y'all all about it. Go out and buy the book. This is what it's about. And then we see this trade. He gets a 2-year, $30 million deal from the Miami Heat, and he's 35 years old. And I say, you know what? That's what your agent is supposed to do for you.
Hey, just sit still. Just sit still.
Just sit still. Peace, be still. That's all you got to do.
How better could this have worked out for him? Like literally, like team-wise.
Going to the playoffs now.
Oh, my
for sure.
God. Like,
he can be in spot moments playing defense as a stopper. There's not much required of Andre Iguodala right now. So come in, provide that championship pedigree, basically put the clamps on people defensively, and then go sit down.
And then go to the beach in Miami.
Out to the bank in Miami, too.
10 to 15 minutes tops on a stressful night, maybe 20 minutes. Just play defense on LeBron or whoever it is on that wing, and that's what we need you for.
That's a deep squad.
Man, I salute the heck out of Pat Riley because I just love the way that team is constructed, man. It's really staggered with the youth and with the experience and with the grittiness and with the championship pedigree of it.
He likes dogs.
He likes
the dogs, and there's a lot of dogs on Miami right now.
Who don't like dogs? Hold on, wait. I don't know if it was Ron Artest or somebody said if you're building a squad and you're building a championship team, you need certain guys that fall into certain categories. You need some guys that ain't all there mentally, and you need some dogs who gonna get down and get dirty, and they understand that I don't care nothing about none of y'all when we get on this court.
They got a lot more dogs than they got anything else on Miami right now, though.
Hey, the thing about dogs fight.
Yeah, true.
I've used this analogy a couple times now. Line up the Miami Heat against every other Eastern Conference team. Who beating them up? Nobody.
Yeah, there aren't many tough teams in the East.
Nobody.
In a fist fight, we talking about in a basketball game.
That means something. Like, I promise you, that still means something on that court, man. it's something to it. And like I said, there's no tougher team than them, and I think that gives them at least a mental edge going up against another team.
Yeah, I put it like this. I hope Jimmy Butler is okay after this shoulder injury and he's able to be what he needs to be for that type of team to really be successful, because he's going to have to be that A player.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have it anywhere else, and he's got the mindset, one, of a dog, but two, of I can go get it at any time. I can go get a bucket. He's going to have to be that A player. Yeah, they got the young boys who are coming along and doing great, but like we've already said, young boys tend to fall off, especially under that pressure cooker of the playoffs.
They can crumble a bit.
So you've got the dogs. Crowder is a beast. It's like not many people are going to just want to go up and stand toe-to-toe with him. I get it. But Jimmy's going to have to be that dude, and I hope that this shoulder injury isn't as bad as it looked from the way he was holding it last night.
And another guy I got to salute is Bam Adebayo, who's making his first All-Star appearance this year.
Yeah.
A Kentucky guy.
Probably beat up a lot of people in the NBA guy.
Yeah, he's really taking his game. I think he's averaging like 15 points a game.
But it's like finesse, though. It's like a big man finesse a little bit.
Yeah, he's knocked down the mid-range jumper.
Methodical. It's very methodical.
76ers back up. Here comes Bam. Got it from Dragic, sends it back. Behind his back to Hero. Top side Olenek. Yes, the only way for that possession to rightfully end.
That is just excellent ball movement from the right side, under attacking the basket.
Robinson.
Dragic knows he can't.
And add the veteran with Gorgon Dragic. Like, those guys who they have just the
Dragic was getting his ankles broke last night, though.
You said what?
Dragic was getting his ankles toe up.
Oh, well, you know what happens. It happens. Look, even Mike got crossed up from time to time. Ask AI.
He's a little Euro guy. What you expect, right?
It was too bad. It was too bad. I was like,
I'm just saying, hey, you can get crossed up.
Do want anything under the basket where it goes behind the back, and then the quick reversal pass there by Tyler.
To make some noise in the Eastern Conference. Yeah. I still have Milwaukee as the favorite.
Gets Kelly just
but I do think it, like Book said, it makes it a whole lot more competitive.
Sixers back up. Here comes Bam. Got it from Dragic, sends it back. Behind his back to Hero. Top side Olenek. Yes, the only way for that possession to rightfully end.
That is just excellent ball movement from the right side, under attacking the basket. But Dragic knows he can't do anything under the basket where it goes behind the back, and then the quick reversal pass there by Tyler gets Kelly just so.
Your best players are Joel Embiid and
Ben Simmons.
Yeah, in a situation where Ben Simmons is supposed to be a leader, but he's not taking over any games. He's not dominating the box scores. He's not even doing what Kyrie's doing, putting the team on his back and having nutties. So you have a situation where you have to look into your leadership, and I think they lost a big piece of their soul when Jimmy Butler walked out of the door.
I think it's even different than that. If we go back to, man, this was probably one of our first podcasts that we put together. We were talking about how they were put together, how the Sixers were, their two best players don't complement each other. And we kind of spoke back then talking about there will eventually come a day where there's a fork in the road and you have to hitch your wagon to Ben Simmons or you have to hitch it to Joel Embiid. I don't think we're far away from that, fellas.
And we also said that, and part of that is because we said Joel Embiid's game is more like what we would want Ben Simmons' game to be, and Ben Simmons' game is more like you would expect Joel Embiid's game to be.
Yes.
Joel Embiid is more of the guard type. He has more of the guard skill set than Ben Simmons. You see Ben Simmons when he came to Atlanta during shoot-around, you see him taking all these threes. He don't shoot now 3 in the game. Talking about I've improved and I got more confidence. Where's if the confidence is there, you take a 3-point shot. I don't see it. I don't see it.
I don't see them being together for the next 2 years.
You want one of them?
No.
Would you take Embiid for the Hawks?
No.
I'm good on
Capela right now.
Would you take Karl Anthony Towns?
No.
I'm good.
Why does his name keep coming up in this podcast?
I keep bringing him up only because he's leaving there. He's not going to play there for the entirety of his career. He looked like he wanted to walk over to the Hawks bench and say, "Give me a jersey and let me play with y'all tonight."
I think he set a record last night. The most losses for a number 1 overall pick.
Terrible.
He passed up Olowokandi.
Terrible.
Yeah.
That's not what you want your name attached to, bro.
No.
Like I only like Karl Anthony Towns if he's on my team. He's that type of player. I don't necessarily need him around. We could do without him.
But that's what he's saying. Like, that name keep floating around like as if it might be a possibility. I'm saying don't even kick the tires
I think we're
on
set now. I'm set at center. I just need a shooter that's a wing.
Now that you're going to get Clint Capela, I think there's no need for you to kick that tire, continue to kick it down the street. I just think, that was more of a in play before you got Clint Capela, before you knew it was coming. Now that you have him, I think you can kind of move on from that.
It's fool's gold. It's fool's money. It's like, why? Like it's a 2010 night. It's a 2015 night, but it don't mean nothing. Like
he didn't even make the All-Star team, fellas.
He didn't.
Nope.
He didn't.
And I was absolutely.
You saw his tweet, right?
I did not.
It was something along the lines of the best players would not be in the All-Star game. So what he's meaning is, I'm not there. I'm one of the better players, and I'm not there. So you don't have all the best players.
He was trying to include himself because Steph ain't playing, and Clay ain't playing.
And they not playing because they hurt.
Was it him or Gobert that cried last year when they
that
did?
Was Gobert.
That
was Gobert.
They weren't in the same to me. They both just soft as tissue. 7 foot plus, and I would fight them. Maybe not, but they soft, man. They just soft, man. Like I just don't like seeing a big
scoop them.
I just don't like seeing that height.
Five.
You know what, boy?
5'7".
I'd actually pay to see that. I really would.
Hey, strike that. Strike that.
Oh, no, that's not an edit point. No, sir.
Because one day you're going to see him and stay far. Don't look at
you are a grown man. Stand on it.
No, but it's all just in fun. But still, like, there's something about him. That toughness is just not there to where it's going to push you over the top. So it's like, nah, why would he even kick the tires on if I already know I'm not going to get what I want?
Well, with Gobert, he may not be tough, but he sure has won a Defensive Player of the Year award.
It's true.
Man, I feel like that's sympathy points, man.
No.
He tall and blocks some shots, okay.
Yeah, but it's a lot of people are tall who don't play the defense he do either. Just because you tall, that doesn't mean that the defense is built into you.
Okay, but there were other people in them same years that could have won that award, like Draymond Green, and
there were a few names. They didn't. They voted him. I
know.
They voted him. I ain't got to vote. So there's a reason.
Look, I ain't got to vote.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying he's a tough guy. I'm just saying somebody made him Defensive Player of the Year award for Defensive Player of the Year for a reason. That's all.
I would agree.
You won. That's a fact. That is a fact.
Got to do it for the Drop Step Podcast. All-Star game around the corner. Have some fun for that. Have some thoughts as well. And we'll see if there'll be more moves made by the Atlanta Hawks. Because Travis Schlink looks like he's not finished dealing for Book the Hook, for Houston, and the B-Dog Brandon Harper home team. We'll see you next time on the Drop Step Podcast.
We out.
My bad, Rudy and Cat.
Boy, already.
I like Cat.
Don't apologize.
But his hitters.
That's what matters most.
Hey, y'all, we got plenty of ways for y'all to check us out, so make sure that you go subscribe on either Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, or even Shack Food Radio, which plays our podcast every Wednesday and Saturday night. You can also catch us on the YouTube channels for the Drop Step Podcast, 680 The Fan, and Atlanta Sports X. And last but not least, make sure you check out the Drop Step on IG, Twitter, and Facebook.